What's up, guys? We got my man Alex here joining us today. How you doing there, buddy?
I'm doing amazing. How you doing today, Ryan?
Good, good, man. I got to tell you, when I first came to FFL, I was watching some YouTube videos of something on how to handle objections. And I think you were in a car shooting one with Grady. And out of all the people I was watching, there's like 10 of the top producers. I really liked your style. You're very direct. You make it very simple for people to understand the process. And that's why I'm excited to interview you today. So it's an honor to have you on the call, buddy.
I appreciate that, man. It's Grady's mentioned how you've got 10 plus years of sales experience. So really excited to see what the two of us can come up with together and provide a lot of value to everyone. So it should be a lot of fun.
All right, so you guys know the drill. We're going to ask him some quick questions, jump into role play so you can learn what Alex is doing and how to go back and watch this video 10, 20, if you're really smart, 100 times, and learn how to copy and repeat and become Alex, because he has a lot of experience. He does very well. But you switched over to telesales recently, right?
That's right. Yeah, my first 2.5 years were 100% person face-to-face and switched to 100% telesales about a year ago. And it's been an absolute blast. Relearning a little bit at first, but got it down now, and it's just it's automatic at this point. So it's a lot of fun if you can get it down.
Nice. And just like with anything, just like face to face, guys, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but it just takes time. It's something new. So probably you're just a little nervous, but the more times you do it, the nervousness goes away. You start feeling more confident. Your tone changes, adjusts, and all of a sudden the clients trust you more. Is that correct?
100%. That's spot on.
And now you're doing live transfers is kind of your bread and butter. I've seen a podcast of yours. It's great. You should check it out, guys, on his channel. But live transfers is the thing, correct?
Yeah, I do live transfers, and then I do one call closes with mortgage call-in leads as well. So just mixing it up between the two, whatever I'm feeling in the moment.
Nice, love it. And then what's the maximum amount of families that you've protected in a month?
In a month, my biggest month was 42 families in a month.
42, guys, 42. So listen to that. You guys out there going, hey, I'm only protecting 5 families a month. What do you think is the reason that separates the difference between 42 families and 5 families a month?
Is that a rhetorical question, or are you asking me?
I'm asking you. What do you think the difference is?
I think it's just activity level. That's really all it comes down to. It's the numbers game and activity level.
Activity. And the second one is going to be how much you invest in your company. So the question is, how much are you investing in your leads per week?
Me personally, right now, I'm about 1,200 to 1,500 a week. When I was in my, I don't want to say prime, but when I was consistently doing, right now, about 20 to 30 families per month. When I was doing 30 to 40 families every month, I was doing about 2,000 a week. And
the reason why it's pulled back is because FFL Fire is taking off, and he's spending a little more time and resources on making other agents better, sacrificing some income for the bigger future. Pretty exciting. Okay, so let's do a live transfer one. That's the thing I'm most interested to learn from you today. How much should people expect to spend on leads, like per lead on a live transfer?
Yeah, so live transfers, there's a lot of different ways that they're done. The primary sources that I've used have been EverQuote, DataLot, and All Web Leads. Those are my top 3. I have also done some Smart Financial as well. Every one of those, depending on the areas you're bidding, how many states you have available and open, they're going to run you anywhere from $80 to $100. So they're definitely not a cheaper lead. But what you're getting is you're getting a guaranteed appointment. So if you were to actually do the math of the leads that you buy and break it up, let's say you spend $1,500 in leads. Well, how many appointments did you get out of those $1,500 of leads? Break it down and break down the math. You'll see the math is about the same usually. It's usually about $100 per appointment. So you're basically just buying yourself a guaranteed a guaranteed conversation with someone about insurance. So $80 to $100 for the US-based companies. I've tried a couple of stuff that's overseas. I'm not here to knock anything. Everything works a little, and you get what you pay for. If you're buying a $30 live transfer and everything else costs $100, why does it cost $30? So just keep that in mind if you guys are looking at other sources.
I love that. Now, on the close ratio, what would you say it is? Is it better, face-to-face versus live transfer? About the same versus booking appointments? I mean, what's the close ratio typically on a live transfer?
For me, my goal is 40%. my goal is 40%. So if I'm doing the math and I'm getting 10 live transfers, so let's round up and say $1,000 for 10 live transfers, my goal is to close 4 out of 10. And the average premium for the family is about $100 a month. So depending on comp and everything, you guys can do your own math on what that kind of income and ROI would be like. But my goal is to get, 4 out of 10 closed. If I'm doing worse than that, maybe I need to work on getting my opening a bit sharper, right? Making the intention a bit clear. If I'm doing better than that, then I'm on a hot streak. But 4 out of 10 is kind of my level. It's what I'm shooting for consistently over a period of time.
Now that might not be as big as ROI as when I was out in the field. Sometimes it's getting close to 1,000% ROI in the field. But I want you guys to do some quick math to start thinking of yourselves as business owners. Business owners, you guys are business owners now, okay? A 300% ROI, which is about what he's getting, is incredible. Most businesses get 20, 15. Stock market gets 8%. Stock market goes up 10. They're like, let's buy, let's put tons of money for 10%. We're talking about 300%. Now, what you're trading for, you're trading for the luxury of being home, the luxury of not driving around, the luxury of not setting appointments, luxury of not getting no-shows, right? So if you just spend some more money, let's just say I want to make 100 grand. I want to make 100 grand in a month, which is possible. So we've done that here. So I could either A, spend 10 grand to make 100 grand going out in the field, driving around, or I could spend, what would that be? 33,000 dollars really to make 100 grand, but I'm still making 100 grand. You got to subtract your expenses and only look at the profit. The profit's what matters. So if you got to spend some more money for some luxuries and convenience, that's why you're here. That's why we're doing telesales. You're spending more money, but you're getting the convenience factor. Sorry, you're getting the convenience factor staying home. Right. So for all those guys that are trying to do telesales, just keep in mind, you're spending a little bit more money to make some more money. Right. If you're broke and you need to make the maximum money of ROI, probably go out and do some field work first. You are going to make a bigger ROI face to face. Okay. I think it's
one little hack with live transfers that I like to do is, for me personally, when I'm dialing to set appointments or do one call closes, my best hours are from like 8 a.m. to like 11 a.m. and then from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So that middle gap, the middle of the day where typically it's the slowest, that's the best time, in my opinion, to do those live transfers, because it might fill that gap where you might not get as many pickups on the phone. So I'll go like 8 to 11, take my lunch, 11 to 12, do live transfers 12 to 4, take a break 4 to 5, and then hit back the phones 5 to 9. So I'm not doing all one call closes in a day or all live transfers. I mix it up. I help keep it fresh and try to fill in those lulls during the day with some guaranteed talks and some guaranteed appointments.
I love that. Now, should everyone have like 3 different vendors turn out at the same time, or what's some tips on, how to use the vendors and stuff like that?
Absolutely. So all the vendors say, hey, when you get a call with us, we're not going to send you any more calls. Technology is not perfect, as we saw earlier, right? So for me, I got all 3 tabs open. They're on and off switches. They're very easy with the companies. As soon as I get a call that comes in on my phone, I have the number saved in my phone. I'm immediately, before I even answer the phone call, I'm flipping off those other switches because I don't want more than one call coming in at once. And it also allows me to get prepared. So I am like, my bid, I do a nice high bid. I don't want to sit there twiddling my thumbs for 15, 30, 45 minutes without a call. So most of the time when I'm doing live transfers, I'm getting a call within 5 minutes of turning that switch on, because I'm telling them, hey, I am willing to pay top dollar. Now, here's the thing. Just because my bid is super high, I don't always pay that. But I'm showing the company I'm willing to pay that. And then they charge me whatever I needed at that moment, which during that middle part of the day when it's slower, leads are actually a little bit cheaper. If you were to go first thing in the morning or late at night, those are the more competitive times. And I've noticed that the cost per lead is about another $10 more in the morning and the evening versus that slow part in the middle of the day. So I have all 3 on at once. As soon as a call comes in, I'm turning all 3 off and I'm answering that phone call.
I love that. Now, if someone's starting off, would you recommend a new agent starts off with live transfers?
New agent, I would say no. It's one of those things that we have amazing resources here at FFL in terms of like the underwriting resources for products with like the underwriting genie, the cheat sheets, all that. but there is a learning curve to all of this. Even if you come from an insurance background, like Ryan, I mean, you sold insurance for a long time. There was a learning curve coming here, right? So I wouldn't recommend live transfers right away, day one, unless you're coming in with like oodles and oodles and oodles of cash to blow on practice. Live transfers, because it is a guaranteed sit, you're paying for that. And I think that you appreciate the sits more when you've grinded the phones, you've grinded the internet leads, and you've had to work for some appointments. It also helps get your skills better with overcoming objections and the basics that you need to know to have success during the presentation. So if your very first sit is $100 live transfer and they say they need to think about it and you've never heard that before and you freeze, well, do you want to waste that on a $100 live transfer, or do you want to do that on a $4 1 month internet lead, right? I'd rather get that practice in first and then do live transfers once they've gotten, I'd say, at least 10 sales under your belt. If you got 10 sales under your belt, consult with your manager. At that point, you've probably written 3 to 4 different carriers. At that point, let's rock and roll. Let's get some guaranteed sits in the middle of the day.
And let's make sure we have a budget for it too. And I want to be clear. The learning curve wasn't any learning curve of selling face-to-face. I did that. The learning curve was I want to learn telesales. No one done it yet at FFL. And so because I didn't know anybody that did it, I had a fear. And a fear was built into me. So I had to practice, start doing it. Once I hit that 50 family mark and did a podcast, now all the FFL is doing it. Why? Because in our heads, we think it can't be done until someone else does it, right? So just remember that we got to, so that's another way of looking at this, guys, is you are your worst enemy. So if you tell yourself that you can't do it, then you're not going to do it. If you tell yourself you can do it, then you will do it. So keep that in mind for your learning curve, is the sooner you believe in yourself and you stop the negative talk and say, I can do this, you can do it. Now, the nice thing is you don't have to reinvent the wheel like I did. You guys can copy and repeat Alex. He's proof that it works. So stop saying it's, it's this, it's that, it's this, I'm bad, I'm unlucky. No, it's you, and you can do it if you choose that you can. So I think that's a really good point to bring up. So have a lot of cash, have a little experience. Let's go back and then we'll jump into some role play. You can show us how some live transfers work. But a couple more questions. If you could go back as a new agent and you made a lot of mistakes, a lot of times we have these mentors that tell us what to do. We do the exact opposite. What's one of the biggest things that stood out to you that you could wish you could go back in time for some of these new agents and, slap yourself on the head and say, wake up?
Yeah. 3 things for me, and they're crystal clear for me, like in hindsight, looking back. The first one is I would have started recruiting day one. I know this is primarily a sales call, but I don't think we realize how good we have it here at FFL. And just because maybe you're brand new and the system hasn't worked for you yet, as a company, we're doing over $35 million a month in sales. It's working for a lot of people, right? And there are a lot of companies out there that don't even do $35 million in sales for a year. We're doing $35 million a month. So maybe it hasn't worked for you yet. That's totally fine. But I guarantee you, we all know people that are begging in this kind of economy to be put in a position like we have here at FFL. So don't be scared to share the opportunity. Don't be the expert. Just introduce it to them and send them over to Ryan or send them over to a video or a resource. Like, you don't have to be the expert, but trust me, there are people just begging for this kind of opportunity out there. So that was my very first biggest regret. I did not recruit my first person until my 8th month. In my first 7 months, I selfishly told myself, I want to wait till I figure this out. And once I started recruiting, I'm like, holy shoot, I should have done this a long time ago, because it's so rewarding to be able to give back to people and help people make life-changing income. So that's step 1, is start recruiting earlier. Even if you don't believe it yet, that's cool. It's working for everyone else. Just believe in the system, right?
Pause you for
Second,
1 second. Guys, some quick things, guys. All you got to do is text them a link. All you got to do is go, hey, this is why I work. Go watch this video. That's it. That's all it is. You're overthinking it. Like, you don't have to talk to them. You have to give me details. You're just like, hey, here's this link, right? So whoever your upline is, ask them what the link is. They're going to send it to you. We all have our little landing pages that we send to our team. That's it. That's all it is. Just link, watch the video, get back to me if you like it. If you don't, no worries about it. That's the whole thing. That's the whole entire approach. Okay. So don't overthink it. All right. Number 2.
Number 2 is I would have started buying more leads sooner. So I heard from day one and the trainings I did and everything that I had to buy leads every single week. but I never bought leads before. So mentally in my head, again, let me prove the concept first, and then I'll start buying leads every single week. And what I didn't know is I was actually making it harder on myself, because when you're starting to call that same batch, think about this, right? Put yourself in two different scenarios. Which would you rather have? Would you rather have 150 to 200 leads every single week, whether they're fresh or aged, who cares? But it's 200 different phone numbers to call every single week. Would you rather have the same 200 phone numbers you've been calling the last 3 weeks, and you've had 2 people pick up the phone after doing $800 yesterday? I'm not too excited about this pile. Like I've called them 800 times. I got 2 pickups yesterday because I'm beating them to death. So I was actually making it harder on myself not buying leads every single week. And again, if it's working for 10,000 plus people every single month, why won't it work for you? Just because it didn't work today or last week doesn't mean it's not going to work for you this month. You could have a bad day. You're guaranteed to have a bad week. But if you work every single day and you buy leads every single week, you will never have a bad month.
I love
so
that.
That was my second thing.
I'm going to add to that, guys, too. Now, the psychology of the sale is not to be needy, right? So if you spent $200 on some leads, doesn't matter, it's $5 dollar lead, $60 lead, or $200 live transfers, but you're gonna have 2 chances, $100 per presentation. Or you're gonna be a lot more needy on your chances of closing. And then the more you push, the more you're stressed and you're like, I can't even make this money back, the less you're gonna close. Now think if you had 10 chances to spend $1,000. Now you're like not stressed so much, like, well, that one chance, I don't really care. I got 9 more. There's another chance, I got another chance. So a funny thing starts to happen when you spend more on leads and you have more chances, you're less needy, and it changes the psychology in your mind to where you need to be. The only reason why, as you keep practicing, that a lot of these great guys like Alexander and myself and a lot of other great leaders that are on these YouTube channels are so successful is they have all this money in their bank account. Now they don't have to fake it. But when you're brand new, you got to fake it. You got to pretend like you're rich. You got to pretend like you got 40 more appointments. You can't care about the sale. You got to find the need, be okay with a no, be okay with a yes, and be confident. So you got to be an actor, pretend like you're rich if you're not spending much on leads. But an easier fix is to make it realistic by investing more in leads.
Yep, 1,000%. And then the last thing I would change to wrap up that thought is I would have tried other lead types sooner. I was so dead set on getting comfortable with one lead type. And I was like, niches are in the riches, right? Riches are in the niches, excuse me. It's where I was like so excited. I'm going to figure out one lead type and one lead type only. I'm going to get so good at it. I'm going to make so much money with this one lead type. And that's good. It's a good mindset. But like when you pigeonhole yourself, like life insurance is so dynamic. What we can do with it, whole life versus universal life versus term life, a 20-year-old versus a 50 versus an 80. And I was just pigeonholing myself. And in doing that, I was missing out on so much other opportunity. I didn't try a mortgage lead till my 13th month, an aged mortgage lead till my 13th month. My first 12 months, I was scared of them. I can't tell you why, but I was scared of them. And the second I started trying them, I'm like, wow, these are great. So same thing for today. If we're talking about live transfers, mix in a couple. Don't wait and don't do it your first 30 days, especially if you're low on cash, right? But you get a little bit of experience under your belt. You've sold 10, 15, 20 policies. Mix in a couple live transfers. Try them out. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to learn. You're going to practice. You're going to get better. So don't be scared to diversify your lead flow. So those are the 3 things: recruit sooner, buy leads every single week, and diversify your lead flow. Those are the 3 mistakes I made that if you guys can learn from me, you're going to get further ahead a lot faster than I did.
I love that. I love that. And that was good information. If you love what he is doing and what he's saying and what knowledge he's dropping, please drop an Alex and some fire emojis in the comments on YouTube and the comments in the chat. Give this guy some love because he is bringing it today. Appreciate you, Alex. Last question. You. We'll jump into some role play here. What separates a good agent from a bad agent from your experience? I mean, you've hired a lot of bad ones. You've hired a lot of great ones. What are some tips for people if they want to be great agents? And what are some things to avoid if you want to be bad agents?
I think being coachable, but in 2 different ways. I think you need to be coachable to your manager, because even when you're brand new, there is a learning curve. And sometimes it's hard to check your ego at the door and swallow your pride and actually do exactly what they're saying. Not your spin on what they're saying, but exactly what they're saying, because they're saying it for a reason. So I think being coachable to your manager, and then 2, being coachable to your own ego, right? Not letting yourself off the hook. It's so funny. People will go so far out of their way to do things for other people, but the first person they're going to let down is themselves, right? If their buddy calls and says, hey, want to meet at the gym? Absolutely, man. If you're going to the gym, I'm going to the gym. But when it's your own motivation to go to the gym, you'll let yourself off the hook every single time. So you got to check your own ego at the door and realize that when you don't want to make that extra phone call, when you want to, mail it in at 4 p.m. today, when you told yourself you're going to dial till 9 p.m., that's that ego check that you need to realize that you're not too good for this. You're not better than this. And you need to keep putting in the work regardless of what results you've gotten, because you just got to trust in the numbers. And I guarantee you, your coach, your manager, they probably tell you that too. And it goes hand in hand. Check your ego and be coachable to your coach and be coachable to your own mindset as well.
I love that. That's great stuff. For everybody that doesn't have their cameras on, you're slacking. That means you're not paying attention. Turn your cameras on. That means you're here. You're present. You're taking notes. So I'm proud of the guys that are doing it. You guys have a shot of winning. The ones that are slacking, have their cameras off. Just forewarning you as a mentor, it's a bad move. All right, guys. And if you're watching on YouTube and you just skipped off, again, talking to you too. All right. So let's jump into some role play. So let's do one. Is there a major difference between someone that's younger versus older? How do we break all that stuff down?
The opening is roughly the same. When the call comes in, I am furiously refreshing my screen for whatever company that is, because the second you answer the call, the lead information pulls up on the screen. So you've got, just so you guys know how the live transfer works. When a call comes in, it'll show, the company name, and I save them as my phone as like data lot live transfer, EverQuote live transfer. So I'm very crystal clear. I know it's a live transfer because that phone number is calling me, right? I answer the phone. There's an agent from that company on the other line. Hello, Alex. This is Mary from Data Lot, and I got a live transfer on the line, Mr. John Smith, and he's looking for life insurance in Wisconsin. Let me know when you're ready. And then I say, okay, I'm ready. And then they three-way John Smith in. Mr. Smith, Alexander is on the line. He will be helping you with your insurance today. Have a great day. And then they hang up. And now it's just you and them. So in that 8 to 10 seconds, when you're answering their phone and they're giving their little spiel, I'm sitting there refreshing my screen. I'm pulling as much info as I can, looking at it. What's their date of birth, right? Are they born in the 80s or are they born in the 40s? It's probably, I'm going to answer that phone a little bit different. They're born in the 40s. Hey, Mr. Smith, how you doing today? I'm Alexander. They're born in the 80s. Hey, Mr. Smith, I'm Alexander. How you doing today? Right? So a little bit different tone, different pace, trying to pull, are they from the Midwest? Right? And this is honest to goodness. You get someone from Kentucky and you start talking a mile a minute, they don't like that. So I try to kind of slow it down a little bit and match a little bit of their tone, kind of mirror them. So I'm pulling as much info as I can in that first 10 seconds to try to be as relatable and make sure that they aren't turned off in the first 10 seconds, because you only get one first impression, especially over the phone. They're judging everything based off your voice and your inflection and those little tiny things. So if you answer the phone and you're, hey, this is oh God, what's your name? John, this is John, right? You already blew it. Forget it. You're not selling that one, right? You're not going to protect that family. But if you're prepared, you're refreshing your screen, you got all your info pulled up there, you're ready for it, you can be prepared for, to give yourself the best first impression in that first couple seconds. So old, young, location, doesn't matter. I just try to imagine myself sitting in their home. What do I think they would be like in this region at this age? And I try to make myself real and put myself in that position.
I love that. 2 questions for you. One tip, guys. If you guys are struggling, it's because of your first 5 seconds. It takes 5 seconds to record your first 5 seconds. Send it to your upline. They'll tell you if you need improvement on that. It's true. 90% of the calls the first 5 seconds. So I love that tip. If you have 3 vendors turned on, right? What happens if you're on a call and another live call comes in? Get to pay for that still?
So for me, the second I get my phone starts ringing, I'm turning off all 3 before I even answer that phone call. And all the companies, if you do miss the call, they will call you back. So I have had that happen sometimes where I'm a little bit too slow, but then they call you right back. Now think about it. John Smith is still on hold. So your user experience goes down a little bit because they're starting to get pissed off. They've been on hold for a while. But I'd rather do that than get charged from 2 different companies because I missed a call and I forgot to flip it off. So I have 3 tabs open. I don't have 20 tabs open. I've got 3. I'm very, very exact about this when I'm doing this because these leads aren't cheap and I want to give everyone the best shot possible at protecting them. 3 tabs open only. The second the call comes in, off, 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 answer the phone, start refreshing my screen. That's like my 15 or so seconds when that phone is ringing. That's what I do.
Now, I heard a rumor a while back, and you tell me if it's true or not, but they said if you pause and then restart it, pause, restart it, can stop the flow of leads coming in, or is that not true?
I think it could be true if your bid is really low, but you develop a history with these companies. If you show a good history of answering the calls when they come in, long talk times, there's metrics that they use, right? They don't want to be sending these leads to bad agents. And so take this stuff seriously when you start it. So for me, I have good histories with all the companies because I don't miss that many calls. I've probably missed less than 10% of calls. The only reason why is because I couldn't pause it fast enough, right? I don't miss that many calls. The calls I do, I don't return a lot of calls. We can talk about returning calls in a second. I try to treat every single person and give them a legit shot instead of just being that guy that's trying to get a refund on every other call and missing calls. That's not a good customer for the company sending you the transfers.
And I know it kind of varies. Leads, you just never know. It's hit in the dark. But if you were about to be pushed off a cliff and you had to answer this question, rank the companies of live dials ranked 1, 2, 3. What would you say is your favorite?
Datalot, All Web Leads, EverQuote.
Okay. And Yuri asked, how much are you bidding above base price?
I have my bid set for 110. I've never ever actually paid over 100 for a lead yet. Most of it's in the 80s and 90s. But again, I'm showing the company I'm willing to do that. Now, I do it during the middle of the day when it's a slow part, and I think that helps because I have done it in the evenings sometimes, and the evenings are 97, 98, 99 bucks. Middle of the day would be 88, 87, 89, etc. So
the way I'm looking at it, if I get paid $1,000, who cares about the extra 8?
That's kind of how I feel too. And
yeah,
and again, sometimes have you ever heard about an NBA player when they get in a shooting slump, they go shoot free throws just to see the ball go in the hoop? That's kind of how I think about live transfers. Sometimes you get absolutely beat up on the phones, but I know if I take 4, 5, 6 live transfers, I'm getting a sale. And sometimes it just feels good to see that approval on the screen. Kind of get a mental reset. Know you got a deposit today. That way you can go back and attack the evening hard. That's kind of how I view live transfers. They're my guaranteed conversations and just my mental resets just to sit down, be human with people and talk insurance and help a family instead of getting hung up on all day, which does happen to all of us. Happens to me too. I could dial from 8 to 11 and not talk to a single soul and get cussed out and hung up on all morning. It happens to all of us. So it's just a good chance to have a solid insurance conversation.
I love that. Love that. Okay. Walk me through it. We're in role play. How old do you want me to be?
Most of my clients are in their 60s. So let's go 60.
Okay. 60 years old. Now, this is the part, guys, that you want to watch over and over again. Okay. If you guys think of questions, keep asking them in the comments on YouTube, add them in the chat if you're live, and we'll answer those after we're done. But take me through the entire process from start to finish. So people, if they like your style, and they feel confident about copying you, then they can go back and watch this multiple times and just copy and repeat. All right, perfect. So do you go ring, ring, hello?
So basically in the phone answers, you get 3-wayed in and the representative will say, all right, Ryan, I have Alexander on the phone today. He'll be helping you out. You have a great day. And then they hang up and now we're live. So I'll go, hey, Ryan, this is Alex. I'm here to help you with your life insurance today. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Appreciate you asking. And I see you're calling here out of Phoenix, Arizona. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, perfect. Awesome, Ryan. Now, this was for the life insurance plans. And so tell me a little bit about what exactly you were looking for so I know how to best help you today.
I just saw an ad and clicked on it and just was trying to see how much it would cost. How much does it cost for the life insurance?
Oh, perfect. Good question. I'll definitely be able to help you out with that. Is this your first time shopping for life insurance or are you a seasoned veteran at this?
No, I mean, I looked into it back in the day, but just thought it too expensive. So just figured, kind of see if it's too expensive now still.
Understood. Okay. And who are you trying to protect with this insurance? Are you leaving money behind to your spouse, to your kids? What exactly would be the purpose?
Yeah, probably my wife, and if
Mhm.
something's affordable here, and then maybe the kids will kind of see. I mean, they're growing up now, so.
Gotcha. Okay. And that's about 85% of the people that I talk to. They're just like you. They just want to make sure that their family's taken care of when something happens to them. Are you trying to just get like your basic final expenses taken care of, or are you looking to leave a legacy as well?
I guess again, it depends on the price. What's the legacy mean?
Legacy, that could just be the difference in getting just your burial covered, or maybe leaving a little bit extra to the kids, like 50 or 100,000 left over to the kids. Would that interest you, or are you just doing the bare basics for your final expenses?
Probably just the final expenses. What are final expenses, by the way? I was kind of confused by that.
Yeah, great question. So final expenses is just making sure that when that day does come to you, right, death and taxes, it just makes sure that money comes in to your spouse to make sure she's not paying out of pocket during the worst week of her life. And that's exactly what I'll be able to help you out with today, Ryan. Now, let me ask you, Ryan, have you ever done this over the phone before, or is this your first time going through this process?
First time.
Okay. Now, do you understand the difference between getting a quote versus qualifying?
No, I don't.
Okay, gotcha. So getting a quote, that's kind of like that bait and switch stuff you might see on TV where they say you can get $1 million for 10 bucks. And then when you call in, it ends up not being 10 bucks and it ends up being like $100. And I'm not a bait and switch guy, Ryan. I'm going to shoot you straight the whole time. Qualifying means that you actually put through an application to see one, what you can get approved for, but two, get an accurate price instead of just a bait and switch quote. Because you don't want to be bait and switch today, right? You want the truth, right?
Yeah, I always like the truth.
Okay, gotcha. Perfect. Well, Ryan, let me kind of explain how I can help you out and explain how the process goes. It only takes about 15, 20 minutes. I'm a broker, so I work with over 20 different companies, which means I'm going to be able to shop around and I work for you. So you called in today, you want to know the price. That's exactly why we're on the phone. I'm going to get you not just any price, but the best price. But more importantly, I'm going to find which company you can qualify for. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Okay. So in order for me to figure out which company you qualify for, Ryan, I'm going to ask you just a couple quick health questions and a couple finance questions. After that, we'll look at some numbers together. And Ryan, if you absolutely hate me and you hate the prices, you can push that red button on your phone right then and there, and that'll be 5 minutes from now. Okay. But my goal is to find some coverage that makes financial sense for you and provides the protection for your wife that you're looking for. And once we do that together, we will be submitting an application today. That takes about 8 to 12 minutes over the phone. They're going to ask for like your name, your address, your social, who you want the money going to, how much money, payment method. They're going to ask for all that over the phone because the goal is when we hang up the phone here in 15, 20 minutes, you've got that coverage in place. That gives you the peace of mind of knowing that this is affordable and that on the worst week of my wife's life, she's going to have money coming in to make sure that I'm not a burden on the family. And that's what you're looking for, right, Ryan?
Ooh, look at that reconfirm. I love it. That was good. Drop some fire emojis on that one, guys. I want to go back and watch that one about 10 times, add it to my arsenal. Okay, that's awesome. All right, keep going.
Cool. So that's what you're looking for, right, Ryan? Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm looking for, right?
Good stuff, Warren.
Um,
Yep.
or, or what they might say, they might throw an objection at me. Well, I don't want to give my payment info out, right? So throw an objection at me, Ryan. Give me an objection that you get sometimes.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I want to make a decision today. I was just kind of looking into it. You're saying I got to sign up today?
Perfect. That's a great question. We will have to submit an application today, Ryan, because again, I'm not the bait and switch guy. So I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and just give you a quote to think on because quotes don't pay out and it may not even be accurate. So we will submit an application today to see if you're going to be approved. After that, you do have 30 days to make adjustments to your policy. So if you want to get your foot in the door and get some more after you sleep on it, that's totally fine. But I wouldn't be doing my job and protecting you and your wife if we didn't get something submitted today by the time we hang up the phone. Does that sound fair to you, Ryan?
That sounds fair. Now you've been doing this for a while, and I think your presentation is really great. What are the most common objections that you're receiving typically?
Pretty much exactly what you said. I was just trying to get a quote today. Well, I just clicked on an ad. I don't know if I wanted to go through all this. And that's where, for me, with live transfers, there technically is a 2-minute buffer. Most companies either have a 90-second or a 2-minute buffer, where if it's not a legit call, if you hang up within the 2 minutes, you could ask for a refund, and sometimes they grant the refund. If you guys heard the way I just did that, I wasn't going for the refund. Some people, they like to sit there and try to shoot them straight in the first 60 seconds. Hey, just today we're signing up and you're going to need this, 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 and this. If you're not okay with that, hang up right now. I'm not that kind of guy, right? I like to be human with them, like I'm sitting in their home, even if sometimes they do hang up the phone 4 or 5 minutes in and I just missed that buffer. That's a cost I'm willing to accept. But I think because of the way I set it up, I'm so purposeful. I find the why. I'm very crystal clear about what we're doing today. I think that's why my closing rate is 40%, because 5 out of 5 people that hop on those live transfers just saw an ad online to get a quote for life insurance. So I wouldn't say it's the highest of highest intent. They're just kind of curious, just looking. So to take 2 out of those 5 people and get them to be comfortable enough with you because they understand the process, they know where you're going. People don't like to make decisions, but they love to follow people who know where they're going. So, hey, this is the path we're going to go down today. Hold my hand. Let's do this together to make sure your family's taken care of. And I keep hitting that why over and over and over again in that opening. So that way they know it's not about me. It's not about you, Ryan. This is all about your wife during the worst week of her life. That's what you're looking for, right?
Right. I love it. And then Alex, just out of curiosity, what lead type can I buy that's 100% close ratio?
As soon as you find them, Ryan, you let me know, man. I'll pay as much as I have to, but I'm not yet to find one. So
They don't exist, huh? Dang it. All right. See, these are leads, guys, leads, not a guaranteed sales. Your job is to make it 100%, right? So keep in mind, we got to buy leads, and nothing's 100%. That's why we're learning today. Stop complaining, get better. All right, let's continue on. Yes, that makes sense.
okay, perfect. So Ryan, before we dive in today, because again, I'm going to be asking you for a lot of your personal information, I want to make sure that you have my personal information. So go ahead and grab a pen and paper to jot down some notes real quick, and then just let me know when you're ready. No rush. I'll wait.
I'm ready.
Okay, gotcha. So my first name is Alexander, and that's spelled Alexander. Got that?
Got it.
Okay. My last name, I'll say it and then spell it for you. My last name is Straight, and that's Strate. Straight. Like the state of Arizona with an R in it. You got that?
Got it.
Okay. And then my national producer number or license number, let me know when you're ready,
Got it.
is 1881247. If you could just read that back for me real quick.
1881247.
That's right. And Ryan, by law, I don't have to give that to you, but I like to give that to you. That way you know you're dealing with a licensed professional. And again, because I will be asking you a lot of personal questions over the next 20 minutes. Does that make sense?
Does make sense.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So in order to figure out which company is going to be best for you, let's dive into the questions here. Let's start a little bit with your health, Ryan. And so for me, I like to start with the health first. I'm just going to explain this up front so you kind of let you guys in my brain. Especially as a new agent, sometimes we don't know the underwriting. We don't know all the products, but I have access to the underwriting genies, and so do you. So for me, I want to get the health information up front first. That way I could punch it into the Slack or punch it into the underwriting genies. And then I go into all the financial stuff. But during that 3 to 5 minutes of financial questions, the genies are doing their research and they're going to tell me what product to write. So I'd start with the health first, then the finances to buy myself some time to figure out what product the genies recommend for me if I run into an issue. So, all right, Ryan, so let's start with your health here a little bit. A couple quick health questions. Over the last 10 years, any major surgeries, ER visits, hospitalizations, anything like that?
Yeah, I had a heart attack about 3 years ago.
Heart attack 3 years ago. Awesome. Well, hey, I'm glad you're still here, man. Those can be pretty scary. How long were you in the hospital for?
For 2 weeks. It was scary.
2 weeks. And that was 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. They got you on some of those meds to make sure it doesn't happen again, some blood thinners.
Yeah, I think they put me on some warfarin.
Warfarin. Okay, gotcha. How many meds they got you taken for like your heart or blood pressure? How many meds you got total taken for those?
We got about 3.
About 3 total. Okay, gotcha. Well, hey, glad to hear you're still here, Ryan. That could have been very scary, and God forbid if that does happen again to you, at least after this phone call, you have your insurance set up. That way you'll know your wife's taken care of, right?
Love it. Assuming the sale.
Assume the
Yes.
sale. Yep. Gotcha. Okay. All right. And then so besides a heart attack, any history of like cancer, strokes, TIAs, anything like that?
No. No
No. Okay.
cancer.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Any wheelchair use or smoking?
Smoking.
Smoking. Okay. Gotcha. Are you like a pack a day kind of guy or like a celebratory cigar kind of guy?
Yeah, about half pack a day.
About half a pack a day. Gotcha. Okay. And then any complications from the smoking, like COPD, oxygen use, anything like that?
Um, let's say COPD. Let's see where you take this. COPD. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm taking an inhaler.
COPD, gotcha. Now, has that COPD been officially diagnosed, or is it just an inhaler as needed?
It's an inhaler as needed.
Inhaler as needed. Okay, gotcha. So, are you sure if it actually shows up as COPD on your records, Ryan, or is it just like an inhale? Like, do you know for sure one way or another?
Yeah, I know
That
the
does make a difference here,
doctor
Ryan.
did tell me. Yeah, they told me I had COPD, so I take a Spiriva for it.
Spiriva for COPD. Gotcha. Okay. All right. And then let's see. Other than that, what about some more of the like
Hey, pause
minor
for a
things?
second.
Like,
We got the man of the hour. Look at this guy. Want to say what's up to the team? We're recording live.
Always say what's up. You got 2 of the best producers in the entire company on here training you. So if you're not taking copious notes, you're selling yourself short. So Alex is phenomenal. Ryan is phenomenal. And all you need to do is just say their words when you're meeting with clients, and they will do what they do for Ryan and Alex. And that's the best part of this business. R&D, is one of Alex and my greatest friends said, was rip off and duplicate. Just copy what good people do and you'll be good too. And do what great people do and you'll be great too. So
That's
Alex,
right.
thank you for always being a team player. Ryan, keep rolling. Everyone out there, make it a big week.
Let's go. Let's go.
Appreciate you guys.
Copy and repeat.
appreciate you, GP.
All right. Yeah. COPD. COPD. Sorry.
COPD. Gosh. Okay. And what about some more of the minor things like blood pressure, diabetes, anxiety, anything like that, Ryan?
The diabetes. Yeah, I take some metformin for that.
Diabetes, metformin. Gotcha. Okay. No blood pressure, huh? I feel like with the gas prices, everyone has high blood pressure right now. It's fascinating. So, okay. And
I
then,
have 2 blood pressures. I'm amlodipine and lisinopril.
oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. So yeah, you see those same gas prices. How much is it where you are right now?
I think it's about $10 a gallon.
$10 a gallon. Man, that's
I don't know why. It's crazy out here.
That's crazy. Yeah, sounds about right. Okay. And then let's see, for the diabetes, got any like complications from that, like retinopathy, neuropathy, tingling, fingers, toes, anything like that?
No, no neuropathy. Yeah, not taking the gabapentin.
No gabapentin? That was my next question. Okay. So just to make sure, just I'm reviewing, Ryan, and it's very important that we're thorough here. Because again, the companies are going to find it one way or another, and this just saves you and I both time if we don't have to do 5, 6 companies, Ryan. So if I miss anything at all, please interrupt me. But I hear you had a heart attack 3 years ago. You were hospitalized for 2 weeks. Take the warfarin and then the 2 blood pressure meds, the amlodipine and lisinopril for that. You smoke about half a pack a day. You got the COPD, you take your Spiriva inhaler for that. And then you got diabetes, you take metformin for that. Anything else we might have missed, or anything that you used to take, you don't take anymore? Anything at all, Ryan, or does that sum it all up?
That sums it all up.
Okay, gotcha. Perfect. Now, if I'm a new agent, here's what I would do here. Ready? All right, Ryan. So you got quite a bit going on there. You're definitely not the perfect definition of health, but not the worst we've seen either. You're a happy medium. I'm going to go ahead and put this in my underwriting chat. We have a whole full-time underwriting team that works on your behalf. I'm going to go ahead and drop this information in there. just to get a professional recommendation from them. And then I'll ask you a couple more questions. And so I'm just going to read it back while I type this out. I literally would go into Slack and I would type that out into the in-home help in real time. If I didn't know where to go, I know where to go because I've been doing this 4 years, but transparency, people love transparency, right? When I was doing in-home appointments and I didn't know, I would literally tell them, I'm going to call my underwriting specialist to get a recommendation. I would call the phone. Same thing here. I'm going to go with my underwriting specialist to get a professional recommendation for you. So it also kind of builds your credibility a little bit too. So I know where to go. So I'm going to go right into the financial questions. But if you don't know where to go, that's how you buy yourself some time. And that's how you use the in-home help, the Slacks, the Genies in real time. All right. So financial questions. I would just start at the top of the please.
Yeah, that's a great tip. You can also use the cheat sheets as well. And I gave a really hard one. So if you guys are at home watching this, try to use some cheat sheets too. You can kind of figure that out as well. And do a little bit of both. But if you're feeling stressed out, yeah, use the underwriting genie too. This is a tough one. I'm excited to see where you go. And I probably would tell them the truth. I would say, hey, looks like you waited quite a long time. You had a heart attack. You're on some blood thinner, COPD. I'm letting you know a lot of carriers, they decline on all these conditions. Now, luckily, you got a national producer here that can shop all the carriers so we can see what we can get. The question I have for you is, are you done procrastinating or will you keep waiting until we can't get coverage someday? It's a good one to ask. So it's okay, I think, sometimes to be honest about their health and tell them the truth, because you have these people like, I mean, I'm perfectly healthy. I just got cancer. You're like, look, that cancer is actually pretty unhealthy, man. So just telling you heads up, insurance companies decline for that all the time. But luckily, I'm a broker. I can shop. So good stuff. It's okay to be real with people because we're not needy. We're not trying to sell, right? We're just service providers. So why do we need to be sugarcoated and be nice? I love that stuff. All right.
Absolutely. My financial questions, I don't think I do anything special here. I'll still go through it with you. I probably could actually learn some tips from everyone else because I don't think I do anything fancy here. And I'm sure there's a way to get creative, but I just kind of go right off the financial inventory. So I got to start at the top. Hey, the place you're living at right now, do you own or rent where you're living right now? We rent. Oh yeah, let's role play. Sorry, Ryan. Do you own or rent where you're staying right now?
Right now I'm renting.
Okay, gotcha. And what's your monthly rent right now at the place you're staying?
It's around $1,200.
1,200. Okay. And are you solely responsible for that rent, or do you have anyone else in the household that splits that with you?
My son, he helps out with it.
Okay, gotcha. And how much does he contribute towards that?
He puts about 400 in.
About 400. Okay. So he pays 400. You pay 800. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, gotcha. I need to know that for budgeting, because when he makes 1,400 a month and he says he doesn't have money for this, well, if you pay the 1,200, I would agree with him, but he's only paying 800, so we could find that money, right?
And just to be clear, you're doing that to call him out and go, well, according to this.
Correct. The more info I know about his expenses, when he says, oh, I can't afford $40 a month. Actually, it looks like you can afford about 400 a month, but I'm only showing you 40. So try me. Let's go. Put them up. Let's go. Okay. And then when it comes to income in your household, Ryan, are you still working, disabled, or retired?
Right now I'm retired.
Oh, I'm jealous. All right. And then talk to me a little bit about your income in retirement. Do you have a pension, Social Security? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I got a military pension. Been in the service for a while, and some income coming in from that disability. So total with Social Security and everything, it's about $4,000 a month.
$4,000. Hey, I appreciate your service. Thank you very much for serving our country. $4,000 a month. Let's kind of break that up because it's definitely important to know where it comes from when you're on a fixed income. So how much from Social Security? How much from your pension? Break it up for me a little bit, Ryan.
Social Security is about $1,000. The pension's about $3,000.
Gotcha. Cool. Appreciate that. And this is something I do, Ryan. If you guys, take this from me. If Ryan says, hey, it's not a good idea, then please correct me. For me, whenever I have someone on a fixed income, this is just my preference, and it's probably not a good idea, but this is what I do is pulling back the curtain, right? Whenever someone's on a fixed income, I set the draft date to be the day their fixed income comes in. Even if I think they might have a little bit extra money, I use that as well as a diffusal tool, and also like less salesy, less pressure. If Ryan says, hey, yo, that's not a good idea, I've been selling for 15 years and I'm going to shut up, But for me, at this point, as soon as I hear that, I would say, now, just so you know, Ryan, like I said up front, I don't take any money today. Whenever someone's on a fixed income, because these are the state regulated programs, they like to match it up with your state income. So in this case, your Social Security. So what day of the month does your Social Security come in? Is it the first, third Wednesday?
It's the third Wednesday.
Third Wednesday.
And I'll
Yeah.
pause you real quick.
Okay.
That's 100% what you should do. 1000% if you figure out they're low, because you want to stop your chargebacks, right? So why not have the premium come out when they have the most money possible in their account? They're not going to see that hurt as much. So 1000% right. That's great.
Yep. I don't even give them a choice. I tell them, hey, because these are the programs, they set it up to match your Social Security. And so I don't take any money today, Ryan. Whatever we set up today to protect your wife will be coming out on the same day as your Social Security. So you said that's the third Wednesday, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we're going to line that up. So that would be set up for the third Wednesday, which today is the 9th. So that would be a little bit later this month on the third Wednesday. Just that way you don't have to worry about overdraft fees. Does that make sense, Ryan?
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Cool. And I spend a lot of time on that because I'm also talking about money coming out. So I'm planting that seed about, I'm going to be asking you for your money because I'm setting this up on the day it's coming out. I'm not avoiding that at all. I'm very clear about that. And I mentioned it 4 or 5 times by the time I finally ask for money in the application. So, so income. And then, does your wife, does she have any income coming in, or is it just you?
It was my son. Yeah, my son. I'm not married to my son. Just give me a heads up.
Gotcha. Cool. I just remember up
I'm
front you mentioned
Alabama. I'm from Hawaii, so we don't do that down here in Hawaii on the islands.
Understood. And Ryan, maybe I misunderstood earlier. You did tell me that you wanted to make sure your wife and your 3 kids were taken care of. Does your wife live with you, or does she not live with you? I might have misunderstood that.
Yeah, it's my ex-wife, but I still love her. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Understood. So in terms of income in the household, then you live with your son. Anyone else?
Just the son, and my son right now, he's kind of part-time, does construction. So he probably brings about 3,000 in.
3,000 a month. Wonderful. Okay. And then I don't have the financial inventory in front of me, but I think the bottom, existing insurance. That's important. And then Ryan, do you have any existing life insurance right now or no?
No. Let's actually say
Ryan,
that.
can I be real?
Yeah.
Ryan, can I be real with you for a second?
You can.
Why have you waited so long to get this set up?
Ooh, look at that, guys. Put in the spot. I love it. Okay. I don't know. I thought it too expensive. I don't think I'm gonna die. I plan on going to 90. We got longevity in my family.
Perfect. Hey, the day that you have a direct line to God, Ryan, and the day you're gonna die, give me that phone number because I want to know for myself. But I think we can both agree you put this off long enough. And your ex-wife, your son, I think it's important that we make sure that they're taken care of today. Wouldn't you agree, Ryan?
Ooh, guys, you better take some notes. You note takers. That was a good line right there. I agree. How can you say no to that? Set it up. Set it up. Alex, setting it up. I love it.
At this point, guys, they still haven't heard a price. They still don't even know literally anything. But I mean, the seeds that are being planted along the way, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like this, a sale is so assumed. How can they possibly say no? Right.
Yeah. And let me
so no existing insurance.
Let me pause this for a second, guys. Chargebacks happen when you're selling it at the price point. The product is sold before you give any options. So if you don't feel like it's sold before you give options, that's why you're having chargebacks. So stop it. Find the need, solve the problem, then give options. All right, continue.
Yep. So I'll get to the end of the financial inventory. At this point, I'm also checking the underwriting genies to see what product they recommend. And it looks like in this situation, they recommended Aetna. What do you think, Ryan? Do you like Aetna for this?
Let's go. Let's do it. And we're going Aetna.
I would go Aetna.
Standard on Aetna. The nice thing about Aetna is it has a preferred and a standard. So pretty cool.
Absolutely. And because of the COPD, I'm going standard for the Aetna Ascendo final expense. With the smoking, it is going to be pricey. So I know that in the back of my head. So maybe when I'm setting this up, I might prepare him for that. I'm not going to
Let's do it.
Different every time.
I want to hear you did it. Make it a hard one, so it's a hard pitch. We can learn from the best.
That is a hard pitch. All right.
We're going into this.
Okay. So, all right. So Ryan, and then do you know if you have a preference, cremation or burial?
Uh, let's do cremation. So there's not much value. I'm making it hard on you.
Cremation, wonderful. Okay. And you said you had 3 kids, right?
Just the son.
Oh, just the son. Okay, gotcha. Wow. I must have my last time mixed up with you. His name was also Ryan Reynolds. So that's crazy. So, all right. So just the one son and the ex-wife, right?
That's correct. But don't forget,
Gotcha.
I still love her.
You still love her. Hey, that's great. That's great. I'm a lover as well. And I'm glad you still love your ex-wife. So, okay. So what I'm going to recommend here for you, I'm actually going to recommend a little bit of a package, if that makes sense, just based off of, you're not the perfect definition of health. So this might be the last chance you have to leave a legacy behind to your family. So I'm going to kind of recommend a little bit of a package here for you. So you still have that pen and paper in front of you, right?
I do. I do.
Okay. Gotcha. So I want you to write down these numbers. Go ahead and write down $10,000. And next to that, write down whole life.
Okay.
And then below that, go write down $100,000 and
Okay.
write down legacy protection next to that, legacy protection.
Okay.
So this is going to be the best option based on your family situation with your wife, your son, etc. The $10,000 a whole life. Do you know the difference between whole life and term life, Ryan?
No.
Okay. So term stands for terminates, meaning it has an expiration date. And let's be honest, at your age and your health, you can't risk getting insurance that you might accidentally outlive, right? So at this point, we need to focus on what's called whole life, which is good for your whole life. That way you don't have to worry about accidentally outliving your policy. And it's not if you die, it's when you die, that burden is taken off your son and your ex-wife. Does that make sense?
It does make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Okay. So the 10,000 here is going to go directly to the beneficiary of your choice, not to the funeral home or anything, but it's a check that goes right to them to take care of your cremation and any final expenses. And because it's whole life, it pays out very, very quick. So during the worst week of their life, they're going to have the guarantee of knowing that you are a responsible adult and set up that $10,000 for them. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense.
Okay. And the second part of that, the $100,000 of legacy protection, this would be if something happened to you unexpectedly, like let's say like an accident. So you're, driving your car and a drunk driver hits you, you're putting up Christmas lights, you fall off the ladder, like things happen, right? Kobe Bryant died in an accident and he was Kobe freaking Bryant, right, Ryan? So we never know what's going to happen to us. So if something unexpected happens to you, like an accident, that extra $100,000 is going to go to your son as a legacy that you leave behind to him. So if you pass away of natural causes, which is the most likely case, you at least have the 10,000 set up for your final expenses. But if you happen to pass away unexpectedly, like an accident, you get the 10,000 plus the 100,000 as a legacy left behind. Does that make sense, Ryan?
Does make sense. I want to pause for a second because I want to point out some things that Alex is doing that's very important. And if you go back and watch this again, or if you guys are paying attention, I know you guys are new agents. That's why it's important to watch videos 5 times. One time's in your ear, out the other. It was pointless to watch the video once. You might as well just throw it in the garbage and never watch videos again. You got to watch them 3 or 4 times for it to retain. Okay, but let's break down some cool things he's done. Never once has he made any statements. Statements are bad. That's what salespeople do. Okay. He's doing questions to find the need. He's doing reconfirms, right? Is that making sense? And he's telling stories. A really important line that we need to be doing every single time, and any top sales agent does this all the time. The best phrase ever is, does that make sense? You've been using it all the time because it draws them back in. It draws them back in. And then everyone has to say yes to it. You can say yes to things. So does that make sense as a golden line? Just want to point that out. You're doing a great job, Alex. Appreciate you being on here, brother. Drop some more fire emoji. I'm loving this call. This is going to be a banger on the YouTube. All right, keep going.
Appreciate that. So at this point, again, still no prices. Just so you guys know, when you give the price, that's your last pitch, man. You can give the price and try to pitch more after that. They're not hearing a word you're saying. They're sitting there and they're going, $114. And you could be sitting there talking their ear off and they're like, 100. They don't hear a word you're saying after the price. So at this point, I'm trying to build as much value. I keep bringing up the beneficiaries. I keep bringing up the family. Hey, you can't keep putting this off. Like they haven't said yes, but they've said yes. They're still on the phone, guys, right? So at this point, I show the 10,000, explain that, 100,000, explain that. So just, to get this all set up, so this is going to protect your entire family, Ryan, for the rest of your life. If you were to qualify for that, that would be $174 a month. So does that make financial sense, or do we need to adjust?
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to come back this high. I'm 60. I thought I was pretty healthy, but that seems pretty high to me.
Perfect. So it sounds like we need to adjust. How much too much is that?
Perfect. So you left it open-ended, so I have to say that. Great response. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. I love that. Great job, Alex. I'll say let's do one. It's probably most I could probably afford is about $100 right now. It's just stuff's a little tighter.
Gotcha. Okay. So if I got you enough coverage to cover your cremation, and we could still get that 100,000 go into your son for $100, between 90 and $100, that'd make more financial sense for you.
Well, I mean, doesn't the cremation cost like $2,000?
Depends where you go. And yeah, some places it does cost $2,000. And so this is all about making sure that you have the burden taken off your family during the worst week of their life. And so whether it's 10,000, whether it's 5,000, whether it's 2,000, anything left over is going to go back to your family. And so that's part of the whole legacy part of leaving behind the money as a legacy. Does that make sense, Ryan?
Does make sense. This is a good part to tell some stories. Here's some stories, guys. My stepdad passed away recently. Okay. My mom had a lot of feelings for him. So she paid for an in-home nursing care because he's one of those tough cowboys, didn't want to be in a hospital. That ended up costing $8,000, unexpected cost, right? So we had a life insurance policy pays for that. I had to talk to a widow one time. Their husband died in the hospital. $1,500 to transport the body. Okay. $2,000 just for the base of the cremation. The box cost $1,500, a cardboard box. Okay. So go do some research, Google it, but there's a lot more expenses involved that we have to think of when it comes to final expenses, right? Covering all the airline tickets for people flying out. Do you want them to pay that? Taking time off work. Do you think they're responsible for that? Do you want your kids doing some car washes? So tell some stories, ask some questions, build the value again. But yeah, good stuff right there. Good stuff. All right. But yes, I agree with it.
That's good. I should have told a story there. That's good. That's, because I got a little caught up there. So I was like in the moment, like, yeah, it is 2,000. But so yeah, that was good. I probably should have told a story there. So that's good. What I was trying to do, Ryan, is, does that make financial sense, or do we need to adjust? So I'm not telling them, does that work for you? No, I don't want them to say no. Only two options they have is yes, or we're adjusting, not no. I only give them two options, yes, or we're adjusting, which are both yes in a way, right? Then if we're adjusting, how much too much? As soon as they tell you their price point, you win. Because now you got their budget, you got the number in their head, you just got to make it make sense for the number in their head. So what typically happens is when they say, oh, I was thinking more like $100. Okay. So if I can get your cremation covered and we can find a way to leave some money extra behind your son as a legacy for under $100, that would make financial sense for you, right?
That would, yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do then is, I don't know if I can get you qualified for that. Well, I'm going to start this application here. Like I said, it takes 8 to 12 minutes. This is the part where they're going to start asking your personal information and all that. This is the most important part, Ryan, because if you can't qualify for this, then we're both wasting each other's time, and I don't want to do that to you. So I'm going to start these applications here and see if we can get you qualified for under $100 cremation and legacy package. Does that sound good?
That sounds fair. Thank you, Alex. You're doing a great job.
And I haven't even told them how much the coverage is yet, because I don't know. I had to go quote it on Aetna, but I got their number and I got them committed to agreeing to that. So now I just go sit there and play with the quote tool in Aetna and play with the quote tool in Mutual of Omaha. And throughout the application, I'll be like, all right, so this is going to be 5,000 to cover your cremation, 100,000 for a legacy. But up front, I built the value. Who cares the dollar amount? The value is there. They want the cremation covered and they want the legacy covered and they want it under $100. We both agree to that. So I'm going to do that.
And one psychological trick, guys, as soon as you get a thank you, that means you figured it out. Thank you means now you are there. You're in control. When you get thank yous, you're in control. You're not being needy anymore. So look for your thank yous and go, I freaking made it finally. I freaking figured it out. I got to thank you. So that was awesome. I felt like I had to say thank you. So good job. All right. So we pick it. We get to the banking information. He gives us a hard time. Well, I thought I had to get approved first. What do you mean I got to give out my checking account? Can I see if I qualify first?
Yeah, this is part of the qualification part for insurance. I hate giving out my bank info as well, but it's got to get done. So who do you bank with?
Good. No breath. Confident. Next thing. Love it. Great.
Who
Okay.
cares?
Bank with it. All right. Yeah. Wells Fargo, blah, blah. So, he said it with confidence, right? So if your tonality is you think it's weird, then they're going to think it's weird. If you approach it with some confidence, right, Alex, and go, dude, why are you being weird? How are you going to pay for the damn policy, you weirdo? then it's not weird, right? So I love that. Great response, guys.
Or another thing, one more thing real quick about that. Another way you could do is what's called a trump card. So at that point, I could go, you did say this is your first time doing this over the phone, right? Yeah. Okay. This is a part of every single application. This is how you actually pay for the policy. Like I said, this will be set up for the third Wednesday. So who do you bank with? So I just trump carded them. I showed them that you have no idea what you're talking about, and I do. So I'm in control.
That was awesome. That was a good zinger. I love that one. All right, perfect. He gets approved. How we shut it down?
All right. So I got good news and bad news for you, Ryan. So the bad news is that you're stuck with me for life, because the good news is you got approved. So that's a really big deal, because especially with the heart attack, the COPD, the diabetes, I was rooting for you, but man, I was holding my breath. So this is a huge deal, Ryan. Congratulations on getting this set up today. Whatever you do, hell or high water, do not cancel this, because I cannot guarantee you I will be able to get you qualified for this again. Do you understand that?
Ooh, guys, you better go watch that 5 times and write down that word track. That was excellent. Wow, I'm gonna use that. That was good. I got some bad news and some good news. I was on my seat. I was like, "What's the bad news?" I don't know.
I pause like that. I usually do pause like that. I go like I do the deep breath, showtime, baby. So yeah, you got to deliver it a little bit.
That was great.
So have some fun. That's the fun part too, man. You get that little green dot in Aetna or approved for America. It's time to have some fun with them. You can poke fun a little bit. It's the best part of this call. So
I'm using that tomorrow. I'm gonna have fun with that one. That's why I see. Agree with me on this, Alex. You still train. You still watch videos. No matter how much you've been in the business, you're always picking up zingers, no matter what. I don't care if it's an hour-long training and I got a 2-minute nugget. That nugget is why I came, right? And then the other reasons I come is it's reminders. It's just constant reminders. When you stop training, it's like when you stop watering a tree, it dies. And the water is your knowledge. So if you want to grow, you got to keep watering it, right? You can stay level, just train a little bit. You can train a little bit more and start growing even higher. But that's the name of the game. Anything you want to add to that?
Along those exact same lines, that good news, bad news line, I learned like 2 months ago for the first time. Been doing this 3.5 years, and I learned that on a training call 2.5 months ago. And I'm like, I'll steal that, rip off and duplicate. And now you guys just heard it. And now you guys are going to use it. And then one day you guys will be training and you're going to say that. And someone's going to be like, wow, that was really good. I want to use that. And we just keep the train moving. So yeah, man, I'm doing the exact same thing as you guys. I'm on these training calls. I'm learning and I'm picking up those zingers as well. So still learning.
That's why I eventually had to come over to FFL, because Grady kept poking me for ideas. And I was like, these are spreading on. I'd be listening to on the podcast in a car. What the heck? Someone else is saying my line? I was like, I need to come work at FFL. So I'm part of the team that's using my content at least, and steal some of their stuff too.
That's funny. That's funny.
But hey, share their wealth. We're all growing together. And the whole point of this is, besides us making money, which is great, the side piece is that we're going out there and putting people in better spots, because we don't sell bad products. These are great products. It's fear what causes people not to buy them, but everybody needs this. And we should feel great about the fact that we protect people. So that's number one. Cool, man. So after your line, let's finish the rest of the call.
At that point, typically during underwriting, I'll have them save my number in their phone. So I'm like, don't just write this down. Like, put me on speaker, go into your contacts, save me as Alex Life Insurance, because I'm very forgettable, Ryan. You're going to forget my name, but you'll know I'm the life insurance guy. So when you search in your phone for life insurance, my name will pop up. So go ahead and type in Alex Life Insurance and let me know when you're ready for the phone number. Okay, 1 second. Oh, how do I work this thing? Right. And they're punching it in. And while they're doing that, I'm like trying to do my signatures on the application. Like I'm buying myself time to like move forward and finish it up, right, and get the approval. But basically, like, good news, bad news. Is there any other questions you had for me today, Ryan?
Oh, that's about it.
Awesome. Well, hey, congratulations on making the best decision possible for your family. And if anything ever comes up, I got your back. But you have a great rest of your day. Okay, Ryan?
Awesome. Hey, one thing I would do, Alex, too, my cancellations have gone down to about 5%.
I need to start doing this. Yeah, go ahead.
Send the protection notice out, read it to them, just make like it's mandatory. Hey, I got to send out this protection notice to you. Read it real quick, like it's like legal jargon. That stops a lot of those chargebacks. So make sure you guys are doing that every single time. It's going to help you guys out quite a bit. Let's do some questions here. So we got, guys, ask some questions in here. This guy's a beast. This is your time. The people that are on here, this is why you're here, to ask some questions to someone that's killing it at the game. We got one from Joe Sylvia. He says, could you explain the 100K you were offering on an example call?
Absolutely. So that was a final expense and accidental stack. Final expense, you could do any whole life. The accidental, I like to try to quote, when I do accidental, I like to try to quote either 100, 150, or 200,000 for two reasons. One, usually it's pretty good affordable price and it's still a lot of value in terms of money. But two, you could write either Americo or Mutual of Omaha with that. So Mutual of Omaha, you could do 50 to 500,000, but you need your health license. Americo, you could do either 100, 150, or 200,000, but you do not need your health license for that. So if I ever need to pivot for whatever reason, or if I'm writing in a state and I don't know if I have my health license in that state or if I've appointed, just to be safe, I'll go write the Americo ADB just to be safe. And that's why I quote 100, 150, or 200. So it's just a combination. I like to call it legacy protection because some people, as soon as they hear accidental, I'm not going to die in an accident, right? They just like dismiss it. So it's legacy protection. And I say, something unexpected, like an accident, right?
Yeah.
So,
I love
legacy protection. That's actually how Jordan, I don't know if you guys know Jordan Lowry. That's how he got his team name. Jordan and I were roommates when we started FFL. And I said that on a call one time. And he was just like, that's so good. And then like a month later, he got his logo and he called himself the Legacy Protectors. So
mine's Rush. I want to hear about yours too, but mine's Rush because I'll tell you, when you get in the zone and you just start killing it and you get excited and you're waking up at 6 a.m, not because you want to sleep in because you got an idea. That's that rush I'm talking about. Or when you're proud of yourself and you just protected 5 families, you made a lot of money. That's that rush that you're seeking. So that's mine. Where'd you get fired?
When you set yourself on fire, people will come from miles away to watch you burn. So I think we all have a fire inside of us, a fire in our soul. And sometimes there's a lot of BS in the world that kind of dampens that fire. And it's up to us to put the fuel to the fire and let it grow. So
excellent. FFL Fire. I love it. So someone asked, where do you get that script? If you guys watching this YouTube, go to FFLrush.com, go to training/links, go to scripts. Everything's right there. Everything I do is in there. Another question, Lauren Thompson asks, do you mostly do final expense, mortgage protection, or a healthy mix of both?
So final expense and mortgage protection, it's all just marketing at the end of the day, because the product we're writing is, a whole life, a term life, or a universal life. So mortgage protection for a 30-year-old could be different than mortgage protection for a 70-year-old. So depending on the client's age, but also their needs, right? That's what I was asking up front. Tell me a little bit about what you're looking for with your insurance today. And sometimes they'll come straight up and say, I'm looking for $20,000 for my burial. Oh, sweet. That's a for sure sale coming, right? Or sometimes they'll be like, I don't really know. Okay, well, your spouse, kids, house, car, wife, anything. And you got to dig deeper to find that why. So I think it's, I don't go into the call trying to do one thing with them. I ask them questions and let them tell me what they're looking for. And then I find the product to fit their need. So
I love that. So we did such a good job. We have too many questions, but I want to leave it on this story. For everyone that stayed on with their cameras on, that were taking notes, congratulations. So there's a story of 2 people that go out chopping wood. Okay. One guy starts at 8. One guy starts at 8. One guy leaves at noon. He goes somewhere. He's like, I don't know where this guy's going. Comes back at 2, chops wood, walks over. The guy took a break, chopped more wood. Next day, the guy goes, this is weird. I'm going to work even harder. So now he's just chopping super, super hard. He's just killing it. killing the game. He's like, I'm definitely going to beat this guy today. Same thing. Guy leaves for 2 hours, comes back. All of a sudden, he still beats him. He's like, I don't understand what's going on. Tomorrow, I'm going to come early. I'm going to work 10 hours tomorrow. I'm going to work double time. I'm definitely going to beat him today. He's got there early. He's still chopping more. Can't figure it out. He's still chopping more wood. So his ego drops. He's humble. He goes, what are you doing, man? I don't get it. I'm working hard. I can see I'm swinging faster. I can see I'm working more hours. What are you doing different? He's going home and he's sharpening his axe. This education is sharpen your axe. For the people that come every single week and show up, you're going to be way more efficient than the people that don't show up on these meetings. So congratulations to the people that stuck around, and congratulations to the people on YouTube that watched us to the end. You're on the right path. So keep sharpening that axe. Any final notes that you want to add to this, Alex?
Just a lot of gratitude for your guys' time. I know we went, an hour today, so don't take that lightly. So appreciate you guys letting me share today. If you want to connect with me, all my social media links are on alexanderstraight.com. And for Ryan, plug into Ryan, guys. He is an absolute beast. He's a veteran in the industry. He's one of the best wordsmiths in the whole company. And you guys are very fortunate to be working with him. So listen to him, be coachable, drop that ego. I'm excited to see you guys on leaderboards.
You're the man, Alex. I appreciate you. Let's go protect some families. Peace.